don't understand why it keeps jumping. There we go. All right. Happy Tuesday. We're back for Tuesday motivation and conversation. Pardon us for being a little tardy for the party. We had a little technical difficulties there, getting connected. But hey, welcome to Tuesday motivation and conversation. We got another good one for you tonight. A lot of good things going on. A lot of good things going on. Here again, I want to kind of just give you guys an update. As of course, this platform is an extension of all the different things that I do in my consulting business as a vision clarity coach and as a strategic management consultant. And so, of course, we've had some amazing things happening. Of course, Jamal is a product of, as one of my clients, so he's a product of these services. And so we are in this series as a result of the new project that he recently released called Engineered Muse. So if you have not picked that project up, you want to make sure you do that. And you can go to jamalbazil.com and get that. And then we've had other launches. Just completed a launch in Houston, Texas this weekend with Evangeline Williams. Evangeline Williams has started a series, a children's book series called Grandma Dale and the Grands. And so that was released this weekend. So shout out to Evangeline and her new project. And so that was an amazing opportunity this weekend. And so a lot of good things happening coming up. You want to go to my website, bridgetmoody.com, and check out all the things that are going on, especially on the tour page and the events page. We have Pen to Paper annual conference coming up in November. Early bird registration is open for that. And then we have Pen to Paper Tour 2024 that's happening. And so our goal is to tour 10 cities in 2024. We are at 8 cities. So we have, I think, 3 cities that we're waiting to confirm their dates, and then we have 2 more cities, and our 10-city tour will be complete for 2024. Sharing the opportunity for vision and helping people to get from revelation to manifestation, from vision to reality, and to help people to establish structure, strategies, and system for which to implement and execute those visions. So welcome, Jamal. We're back for another episode of Relationship Conversations, and we've had some amazing conversations last week. We started off. We started the conversation off with First Peter 3, and we talked about verses 1 through 7. Talked a little bit about First Peter 1, but just how we, number one, the whole concept of this month has been, what's love got to do with it? That's the question on the floor. And of course, love has everything to do with it. And how we manage our relationships, how we do what we do, how we talk to each other, how we communicate is all a part of that process. And we have to do that lovingly. And so here again, we are back and we're talking about these relationships. So I think we kind of concluded in our pre-going live conversation that we just kind of want to deal with the nuances of modern day dating and how some things kind of just are so different in this season and this time. And so I want to give you the opportunity to kind of just kick this off with an example of an experience you had just recently when it comes to dating, and we can kick it off from there.
Dang, just put me on blast. Hey Tiffy, how you doing? So yeah, this was interesting. I'm not gonna give too much of the
you ain't gotta go too detailed.
I don't know if this person will be watching, but
we don't know.
For example, had a great conversation with a young lady, mixed company, everybody's kind of talking. But, our conversation kind of lingered because it was good. I mean, it was thought-provoking, humorous, all these things, right? And so we were talking, exchange numbers, because I'm like, you get my brain. It's like, yeah, let's keep talking. And so we agreed to exchange numbers and then texting. Then I was like, hey, let's get together, continue the conversation, grab some food. Now, I'm a big person. I love to eat, right? I don't look
Mhm.
like it, but spiritually, I'm a my 600-pound life person, right? And so I love food and I love good conversation. And so I sent this message out, and then like 100 years later, I receive a response. And for me, like once I send a message, it's out of my mind, right? And it was like, hey, like I really enjoyed your company and conversation, but I'm not really looking for dating romantically at the moment. I don't know if that's where I want to go yet, but if it's just meeting up and talking, we could do that. And I was cool, I was like, okay, cool. Right. But I'm like, just
So
PSA.
let's unpack the question. The on the so listen. Okay, listen. First of all, before I even start, y'all need to share. So y'all need to share. Bring some more people into this conversation because this is gonna get good, and we need you
Oh,
all to engage.
you already know I'm
So
locked and loaded.
before before I even go deep, y'all share and share right now because it's getting ready to get nicely heated. Okay. So let's unpack it. So
Please, let's go.
the question was, or the invitation was dinner.
Let's grab some food and continue the conversation.
Not even necessarily dinner, just let's grab some
Grab some
food.
food. Yeah.
Okay. How practical is that? Super practical. Let's just grab some food. Okay, women, listen. Okay. I just got to be honest now. We can go too far too fast. Now, this was like, you know, from the expressway or whatever, you all the way in the ocean. How we get all the way to the ocean? So it was just let's grab some food. So when the response came back, we get a response that starts off talking about what now? What kind of relationship?
Like romantic dating and so public service announcement, if I may, PSA, right? And and, and believe me, like I have no like this is no like ill will to the young lady, and hopefully we can go and because great conversation. But like just because somebody asks you to dinner or ask you to
Yeah.
go grab coffee or tea or grab some food, that don't mean they want to date you.
So
That's not what that means.
what do you think? I want to know from the male perspective, what do you think gave the person the inclination, the thought process that this was going from grab food to engagement proposal? I don't know. Because it
So
sounds like we done went all the way left.
So I think it's a few things, right? I think
Okay.
one, again, it's experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their own experiences, their own history, and
Correct.
so they see the world through those things, right? And another piece of it, I think, is like women think that's all guys think about. That's all we want. That's it. Like we immediately go to, oh, I want to date her, or I want to sleep with her, or I want to, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, come. There's this thing called friends.
Wait. Hold on. Yeah, absolutely. Because this is where I want y'all to engage women because I want to know how do we get from grab a bite to eat and it ain't
I'm
that
just
deep,
like,
Tip. Tip, it ain't
you
that deep.
know,
So I need to understand how did we get to because here's the practicality of it all. When we can't be practical in our thinking just from, just having some food or friendship,
uh,
right? Friendship. We talked about friendship over the course of these several 6, 7 weeks. How is it that we get how is it that we get too much? How we get to that point, and it ain't even been a date. So this is not even a date necessarily. This is
right.
grab some food. I don't consider grab some food a date.
And
This
so,
is this is a connection, an opportunity to talk, to
yes.
determine there is anything of substance that can be pursued.
And I think it should be known, but it should be so and hold on. Before we start casting stones at this
But
young
no, this is
lady.
good. No, but this is good. This is no. This is good.
No,
because I agree. It's one thing to let your intentions be known, but by the same token, we ain't even got to an intention.
Right. But I
So
think
in well, here that's why I'm saying the language and the words we use, the word choice is important.
very
So
important.
if in fact there were word choices, so I'm just saying think back. Maybe you said something you didn't realize you
So
said.
so now so this is where I go, right? Because I get to the place where I go assess and I start analyzing.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
and me,
Y'all come
if
on.
you
That's
know
right.
me,
Come on with these comments.
when
I
I'm in
want to
a
hear from y'all.
conversation, that intrigues me, right? I'm
Uh-huh.
in like, so I'm not gonna lie, I missed a good portion of the game because I was into this conversation. And so I go back and I think about, okay, what did you say? And maybe I should pull the text up. I don't know. But what it comes down to is like, okay, Jay, did you say, initiate, do anything? But I am me no matter where I go. So the reason we exchange numbers is because I initiated it.
Okay.
I literally
Which is
handed her,
nothing wrong with that.
right. So I handed her my
Okay.
phone, right? And I was like,
Okay.
yo, put your number in my phone because it is so refreshing to have deep conversation that's
Okay.
engaging. And so she agreed, and so we exchanged number. So in my mind, I'm the type of dude, if I'm asking you on a date, I'm gonna directly ask you on a date. You know,
Okay.
it
So you think deep was the word, was the kicker? Deep
I,
conversation was the kicker?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. And so now you have to be careful though, because now if a dude is sitting there thinking about what I can say and can't say, then it's gonna be like, oh, something wrong with him. He too timid or he too this. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
double-edged sword.
No, I'm not saying that. So I mean, I'm on your side on this one. I'm on your side, because I'm just like I don't, I don't understand how we get from grab some food to a romantic relationship. So I'm just saying, here's the thing about communicating, right?
Mhm.
And in this modern world of dating, to your point, oftentimes, and this is a statement that I made earlier, is that we're often guided by our own set of misguided expectations,
Yeah.
right? And so, if our expectations of individuals is unknown and uncommunicated, then we're responding to whatever actions you give us based on our misguided expectations. So it's just like, we paint pictures in our minds that, this is the one, da 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 da. You ain't even went out, but he was nice. He talked to me,
Yeah.
we had good conversation. But at the end of the day, you got a whole world of stuff going on that this person has no idea is going
Yeah.
on. That can
Like,
sometimes happen on the side of a guy as well. I've
yes.
had that, and I'm like, whoa, wait, now when I didn't say that. I mean, I
Hold
never
up.
said that. So where you get that from? So it's like bag it up, pump, pump, pump your brakes 3 times, pump, 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 pump your brakes. So
Tiffany is
here
funny.
again, it's it's all about communicating, right? And
Yes.
so that lets you know a whole lot just
Mhm.
right out the bag, right?
And
Because
so
it's like if I got to back up and I got to clear all this up, and all I asked was XYZ, then yeah,
it really, and Tiffany is right. Sometimes,
of
especially in
course,
the beginning, you just met somebody, you got to take stuff at face value. Don't dig too deep, because
absolutely.
the digging too deep gets you in a whole lot of trouble, a whole just too quickly, right? And so what I do
Yeah, that.
appreciate is the very explicit response, like, okay, here's my boundaries right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there
Mm-hmm.
was, her statement was, this is where I am right now, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I appreciate you sharing that, but
Mm-hmm.
the analyst, the engineer in me is like, how did we
Yeah.
get there? You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
So here again, it lets you know a whole lot to the
yeah,
point that you don't have to go trying to go into deep waters. Stay on this shallow end so you can get on out.
yes,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying?
And
Don't even
so,
bother going into it because you can drown with that because you don't know what's behind all of that. So to your point, it just lets you know a lot, on the front end.
yeah, and so, I sat there and it's like, we continued to talk after that. And it was like, okay, well, yeah, well, let's grab some food and da da da. And so now you just taught me something, right? And if this
Mm-hmm.
young lady ever sees this, this is me. Like I have these
Mm-hmm.
conversations in my head. You taught me
Mm-hmm.
something. So now I said, hey, whenever you're available, you let me know. Because
Mm-hmm.
now I'm all the way back.
All
Like
the way, all the
I
way.
gotta respect the boundary
Mm-hmm.
and the space because I didn't think
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I did
Mm-hmm.
anything
Mm-hmm.
untoward or forward.
So here's a caveat that comes behind that, depending on the expectations and the mindset. He never called me back. We even hear from him no more. Da 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 da. So, because of all, because see, it's like you did a 360 in 60 seconds. You did a 360. So we have to be careful on both sides, how we hear what we hear,
Yeah.
right? And how we process what we hear. And what a person says and what a person hears are two different things.
Yeah. And
And so
yes,
when we're
yes, yes.
and so when we're in conversations with people, whether it's casual encounter or whether it is an intentional encounter, quote unquote date,
Mm,
then for me, my thing, especially for us as women, listen more than you do anything else,
mm.
right? And so even when you're talking, you share, but you're also listening, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things that you need to know, most times an individual is going to tell you, and they may not tell you verbally. They will
Yes.
tell you by the way they handle things or what they don't say. Because a lot of times it's about what's not said as opposed to what is said. So it's
Right.
all about how you're hearing and how you're listening. Are you listening with your heart? Are you listening with your ears? Absolutely. Communication intelligence for absolutely for sure. And so these are the things we have to be mindful of. But so oftentimes here again, the capacity is not there for
Mm,
communication intelligence because that piece is not something that has necessarily been taught, or people may not have been in the environment for that. So here again, you listen and based on the experiences you've had and where you are, you don't want to take yourself too deep if
right.
if that's not there.
So I would say to kind of address Tiffany, I don't think she created a whole relationship. I just think she responded to what she has experienced, right?
Experience.
So she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to definitely put up kind of a safety net for herself, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of it's almost like a speed limit sign
Mm-hmm.
to let any guy know, hey, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have a
Mm-hmm.
process by because there are some people that'll meet and just be like, oh, we dating. It's like what?
Mm-hmm.
Like so
Oh yeah, because like I said,
again,
it can happen. It can happen on both
oh,
sides.
I've seen it. And so I wouldn't say she jumped to a whole relationship. I think there's some experiences there. And yes, there's that perception, right? Um, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that I am a different kind of guy. I handle things very differently because I believe what I believe. I'm very resolute in who I am and how I communicate. My communication doesn't change,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the sense like the core of me, I'm not gonna say one thing
Mm-hmm.
here and then say another thing.
Your
This is
approach
it.
is your approach.
This is me, right?
Yeah.
If you intrigue me in conversation, I'm gonna want to continue that conversation. If that develops into something else, great. If it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
great. Like either way. And to your point, Miss Moody, you're right. It's not like I'm not just gonna like not interact or send a message, but
Mm-hmm.
now I'm gonna it's gonna be more controlled, more considerate of how I say what, right? And
Sure.
you
Sure. Sure. Sure.
best believe when we do meet and we go eat, we gonna talk
Mm-hmm.
about this because I love to
Mm-hmm.
understand. Okay, why did you go there? Why help me understand so that I
Mm-hmm.
can better communicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like as a man, that's something I need to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So we got a couple of good points here.
yeah,
Tiff says perception is everything and all depends on the lens it's passing. Absolutely.
absolutely.
So because everybody's perception is based on and that's their reality. It is based on, as we
Yes.
just, concluded, their experience. And so depending on what the experience is. And so this is why communication is so important. And when we're out here in these dating streets, that we have conversations to help us understand ourselves, right?
Yes.
How we should approach conversations, some of the things we should be doing, like this conversation that we're having now, how to listen actively, how to communicate intelligently, how to listen, appropriately. And when you're speaking, making sure that you're speaking only based on the conversation that's being had, and then
Yes.
and how you equate certain things is based on either things that are not said based on your expectations. So sometimes we can be so forward with our expectations, it has nothing to do with that individual because that
Right.
doesn't apply for that person. Right.
Right.
So
Right.
if
Right.
you listen long enough and have a long enough conversation, you'll determine whether or not this is something that could be or should be continued.
Yes.
So we have to use maturation in that regard to
Yes, ma'am.
help us to communicate more effectively. However, on the flip side of that, we got people who don't have that ability or that capacity because they've not had that experience.
Right.
So we have to utilize our level of maturity in order to determine how we need to proceed with this. So we just,
Absolutely.
here again, communication is
Everything.
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 It's everything. Um, and then of course Ashanti is saying, we filter like PD's message, we filter things through
Yes.
our experience. And that's so true because my experience is not your experience. And
Right.
then, at the end of the day, and so if a woman's experiences have been negative or very assertive or very, forceful or whatever the case may be, she's going to be very protected, overly protective and very, guarded, right? And even if it hasn't been that necessarily, just based on the dating experiences,
Right.
it's going to be a guarded conversation, right? And
Mhm.
so understanding how to handle our emotions when we're having conversations and know a conversation from an actual date, know a conversation. We just talking. We just
And
getting
so,
something to eat. It's platonic, ain't nothing happening, ain't nothing gonna happen, ain't nothing going on. And so when you get a response such as that, and it makes you feel like you needed to say one, two, three, A, B,
mhm.
C, you know what I mean? And then come back and do a
S-
double A, double B, double B, yeah, that's a
so
lot.
that's the thing. Like,
That's a
I
lot.
think right there for in this case for the guys, right? Because this can happen on either end.
Either
Um,
end, it can.
especially nowadays. So for the guys, you have to
Mm-hmm.
recognize that, right? Like I saw that in the message immediately. And that's just okay, based on what I'm reading, I'm like, okay, this may be coming from something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to respond wisely, right? Because you can't be like,
Mm-hmm.
girl, ain't nobody feeling you like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that right
Right.
there, that's
You could have went
unnecessary.
somewhere. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
still have to, I always believe in protecting the other person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wherever they are or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And besides, I ain't gonna do that because she was cute. You know what I'm saying? Like all
Mm-hmm.
that smiling, like, hold on now, you got white teeth, they straight. Hey, that's a win. But it was definitely the conversation, the mind, the heart behind it,
Oh God.
talked about faith, talked about a
Yeah,
bunch of different
yeah.
things. And so
Mm-hmm.
for me, I love that when I meet somebody that's actually trying to live life and be
Yeah.
their best self, And so even getting that response, I was kind of like, this is a strange response.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I knew it was
That,
a meditated response because it took
yeah.
some days for it to come.
So this is why for men, on the men side, this is why this don't mean that. So the,
Facts.
the cute smiles, the hips and the fingertips don't mean you working with a full deck of cards when it comes to relationships and processing emotions, right?
Yes.
So that's why we have to really be mindful of how we handle what Tim, what? What Tim, what we do? No,
I don't know what I said or did, but
I don't
goodbye.
know. But and we have to make sure that we are really paying attention on both sides.
Yeah,
And so for women, listen, tall, dark glass of water don't mean that it's cold and chilly. It
yeah,
just don't mean that that's a good drink. So we got to make sure that we are assessing our environments appropriately and that we're taking the time to
100%.
hear people, and listen to people and find out Okay, what stuff coming from? How we talking? How we, what level of intelligence are we on?
So,
Because
oh,
that matters. Because if you don't have nothing there, the rest of that you can have all of it. I don't care on either side, and it's like, yeah, no,
what's
that
interesting
that
though,
would be a
like
no.
the whole interaction. So I met this particular young lady through a friend of mine's girlfriend's friend. So she is the girlfriend's friend of my friend. And so the whole time, right? Just everyone there, I'm new. So these people have been around each other before. So I'm like, I'm looking at everyone because who you are hanging around is going to tell me who everyone is, right? And that's how I kind of view things. Like, show me your friends and I'll show you exactly who you are. And so I was just kind of
It's good,
observing
Mike.
and just watching and paying attention the whole time,
Hmm.
just like, okay, let me soak this up. Let me soak up what's happening.
That's good, Mike, because here again, and this is
Oh
not
yeah.
only, to protect the other person, but also to protect yourself. Because even as
Mm-hmm.
men, you have to protect yourself. And so you want to make sure
100%.
that you're listening and intently and intensely, because here again, these streets out here now are different. They
It's dangerous.
way
It's
different.
dangerous
They
for everybody.
way different. And so, people can go off on a tangent, and next thing you know, you got a fatal attraction or a crazy attraction. And
Listen, man.
we got all kind of things going on, and so it's so important to assess. So I think, just even looking at that, you three levels down in this connection, what
Yeah.
are those other levels like, right? I'm loving it tonight. Y'all coming on with it.
So and so oh, Mike
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
Mike
yeah.
just sparked a conversation that we had
Absolutely.
some years ago, and this is something I have to be very cautious about. So Mike called me on this some years back, and I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you, Mike, for doing this. But he was like, Jamal, you don't even realize how
Mm-hmm.
you communicate to women.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, man, you speak in poetry.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be misleading to a woman that you're communicating with.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, whoa, 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 hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking.
But
And
that's you.
so, but what I realized as I went back and I started thinking, and we had many more conversations,
Mm-hmm.
culturally, where I'm from, this is how men speak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not where I'm from right now.
Right.
So,
Right. Absolutely. You got to be careful.
so even to this day, I don't remember to kind of filter almost myself a little bit.
Hmm.
And if I'm around somebody like Mike, he'll be like, bro, like he'll give me that. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Too
oh,
much.
okay,
Too
hold
much.
on.
Too much.
Reel it back in.
So
Man,
that's why I say, think about, did the deep conversations, was it something about, how you presented what you said? Because here again,
did I
if in
wink?
fact,
Like, did I hit him with the, I
yeah,
don't
see,
know.
yeah. So, and when and there's this underlying level of flirtatiousness that people pick up on, and
Oh,
you're not meaning anything necessarily by it, but it's picked up as something different, right?
yeah.
Like me, I have these terms of endearment that I use, dear, and all this kind of stuff, and so I have to be mindful because it just comes out
Oh, you bat your
like,
eyelashes too sometimes when you talk. You be like,
oh,
you hit
whatever.
people with them joints. And they're like,
It's
oh.
just whatever. But here again, I have to try to be mindful of that. Yeah, my
Yeah.
eyes get me in trouble. My eyes get me in trouble a lot. But at the end of the day, here again, that's what I'm saying. I have to be mindful because
Yes.
somebody can take that the wrong way. And I mean nothing by it.
Right.
I'm just being myself, being nice, and so I really have to watch the terms of endearment because it'll come out quick. And so here again,
Mm.
uh, okay, what the tips say?
There's so much
Yeah,
power in words.
definitely. Yeah, definitely power in words. So we have to be careful on both sides, right?
So
Um, I
I
I had a go ahead.
I'm sorry. I will say though, don't be so careful that you're not yourself. Like some stuff
Absolutely,
you just gotta let
absolutely,
go. Like this is
absolutely.
just me, you know,
Yeah,
it is what it is. So
yep. Tiff, I'm telling you, it's easy to do. And so I had a girlfriend of mine who this was during the time I was really, dating, and yeah. And she was like, why don't you just, use this touch gesture? I said, I ain't doing that. I said, because touch mixed with the eyes and the
First
terms
of
of
all, don't touch
endearment
me.
and all of that.
Don't
No,
touch me.
and see, when I touch, I rub. I
Don't touch me. No, ma'am. Listen.
not
No
doing
touch.
that
First of
at
all,
a situation.
don't look me in my eyes. Look away. Don't touch me and don't look me in my eyes. I can't do
So,
it.
and now that's another thing. I like to look people in their eyes.
I do too. You
And
know?
so it's like, so all of these little things, y'all going crazy. Y'all going ham in here. What we got? What that's true. Nonverbal communication, absolutely. Uh-huh. Yep.
Oh, Tiff is notorious for hun. Tiff is
Listen.
notorious for
See,
hun.
so the deer and all of that, and it's just it's one of those things where, oh God. And at this season of life, I'm like, tripping on that because for me, it's like, come on now, you got to know I'm just talking, but you can't make that assumption, right? So, but yeah, she was like, do this touch on the hand and on the forearm. I said, girl, I am not doing that. I ain't doing that because I will be in a world of
Hold
trouble.
on now. Like you
So if
got
if I'm touching and I'm talking to you and I'm looking you in
mm,
your eyes and I
mm.
bat my eyes, no, that's too much. All of
That's
that going
it.
together.
You got shivers going
So
down people's spine and stuff. Don't do that.
so I said, no, I'm not doing that one. I'm not
Don't
doing
do
that one.
that.
So yeah, we have to be our communication there's a lot of it. And there are a lot
Yep.
of ways to communicate, and it depends on what a person's preference is. Some people, it's the eyes. Some people, it's the lips. It's all the things. It's the touch. And so you don't ever know what a person's,
Yeah.
pet peeve
So
is, or what their preference is, or whatever the case may be. So you
we
have to
call
be
it
careful.
kryptonite, Miss Moody. It's kryptonite.
Oh,
Like if you
mm.
have dimples, don't smile at me. Just don't smile. I don't care if you hear something
I forgot
funny.
about the nipples.
If you hear something funny, you better be like this
Oh my
whole time. Cause
goodness.
I like don't do it. I can't. Just I mean, I start talking to people backwards, like with the back of my head to them. Just
Yeah, yeah, Tiff. So it's like you come off as if you were really trying to send a message and you really weren't. You were just being yourself, and it's easy to do. It's simple, and I'm telling you, it's just like I do a lot of networking events, right? And so um I really have to be
I just thought of a
I
story you told me.
man, these networking events, Jesus speaks just like what is ass gonna do, Jesus? Anyway, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
have to be careful.
We
And it's just yeah, it's interesting. What
it's
else we
different.
got in the chat? Yeah,
It's different.
it's real different. It's really, really different. And so
Mhm.
oftentimes, people come with these questions and
Yep. Mike, you better
it's
preach.
like, yeah,
So, but
absolutely.
hold
Yeah.
on. I will extend that by saying not just hurt people, right? So here's
Mm-hmm.
something, and I put this in a book and I just read it. I need people to understand that bad people want good people too. Like bad
Yeah.
people
What was
want a
what
good
was
person too.
so we want the best for ourselves. What was the piece in the conversation
Oh,
starter? We want the best for ourselves without being
without
our
being
best
our
self.
best self. Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Okay.
like, so people want this great guy or this great girl or this, but they are unwilling to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're unwilling to look at themselves and say, okay, what can I do better? So one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I always practice is if something happens and it's an unfavorable situation, the first thing I say is, okay, how did I contribute to this?
Mm-hmm.
How could
Mm-hmm.
I be better in this?
Right.
Imagine if everybody did that in relationships instead of saying, you did this or you did, I can't believe you. It's like, okay, what's
Yeah.
my contribution to this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, where could I be
Mm-hmm.
better? And so
Yeah.
that's what I really try to do, because it's so easy to point out what everybody else did, right? Like
Of
I saw
course.
that message, and the first place I went is, okay, what did I say?
Mm-hmm.
Because I reread my text and I was like, did I say something crazy in this thing? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's one of my words, and I learned to get rid of it is babe. What's up, babe?
Yeah.
How you doing, babe?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
just my thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, a lot of times I did that because I didn't remember people's names,
Okay.
and so, but I had this whole like, I'm not your babe, and I was like, whoa, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Mm-hmm.
offend. Please remind me of your name then, right? And so it's like
It
I
ain't
always
babe, but what is it?
because so, like certain names I remember and certain names I don't. I don't know, but I think we should always look at, okay, how did I contribute to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And be on guard because there are people out there that are terrible people,
That's
but they
true.
want the best thing for themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, to the point that Mike made earlier, there are people who will take advantage. And so you have to be so very careful. And you know, that's why I said, you know, I have to watch those in those terms of endearment and who I say them to and you know, when I say it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So I'll use something like bruh. And I hate to use the, brother so and so, so. That's okay, bro. What's it? But and then I don't want to do dude,
yeah,
so it's like you have to be so careful with how you communicate because you don't want to send the wrong message or send the wrong signal or here again come across as flirtatious when you're really not trying to be flirtatious. You're just being yourself. And so even when I'm just talking in general, there are gestures that I make, there are things that I do, and I know that I do. And so I try to I'm a person who smiles, right?
mhm.
That's me.
And your teeth
So
white. That's
and
dangerous.
anyway, anyway, so I'm a person that's me. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm an optimistic person, my personality is bubbly and bright, and that's just who I am. That's how, and so I'm a people person. And so when I'm talking to people, when I meet people, case in point, this weekend. I was in Houston, sharing these are people, most of them I'd never met. Not only
Mhm.
that, I'm a hugger. And so
Oh
it
Lord.
just all of that. And so here again though, when you don't know that something is being, taken incorrect, you just don't know. And
Yeah.
so to your point, I don't try to really divert from being who I am because it's who
Yeah.
I am,
Yeah.
right? But I definitely try to, beyond the hug, I try to stay off of the rub touch piece
Yeah. Yeah.
because that can be a little too sensual. But
I'll tell you,
here
if I
again,
hug you, I must really like you because I don't. I'm not. That's not something I do. Hugs ain't. That's not my first go to. You know.
yeah, Tiffany said my friendliness has definitely been misconstrued, and some have attempted to take advantage of it, but no clue. I could be a host. Yeah, but here again, it's all about
That's funny.
reading between the lines. So it goes back to what Shanti mentioned earlier is our communication intelligence, and we have to put that into play. And so not only that, but our sixth sense, which is our spirit of discernment.
Yes.
So you have to
Yes.
utilize. And here's the thing: there's so many different things that are happening in a short period of time
Oh,
when we're
100%.
communicating with people. And so we have to be on top of our game and be self-aware because if we're not self-aware we can quickly divert into something else or something can be triggered or thrown off all of those different things if we're not mindful of our communication and our approach and how we're doing that.
Especially when you meet new people. When you meet
Yes.
new people, there's this sizing up thing that happens because
Mm-hmm.
like you can feel the eyeballs like kind of like looking at
Mm-hmm.
you, and I think we all do it, right? So in my mind, I purposely like try to block that out
Yeah.
because as a single guy, man, if I walk into a room full of women, I'm a scan the landscape, see what's out there. You know what I mean? But at the
Yeah.
same time, like I have a this mantra that I've adopted, like as a man, first and foremost, my first priority is to protect the heart of every woman that I'm
Yeah.
around. I have to,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because it's so easy to affect someone even in a small moment of time, right? And so I
Mm-hmm.
try to be very conscious of that, like make sure I'm not saying like I'm gonna say this. I'm just going every guy I'm I look at every woman that walks by me,
Mm-hmm.
but they never know that I look.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's also the artist in me, so I notice the little things like, oh, her hair is this way, and her like, and I just pick up on different things, right? But I hate
Mm-hmm.
when I see guys that's like, you know what I mean?
Come,
Like,
they
what are
out
you,
there.
5? Like, and it's like,
You gotta know how to take a glance.
you're right, I
Just a
look without
glimpse.
looking. You'll never
Yeah,
know I looked,
just a glimpse. Yeah, glimpse.
and
You know,
it's like, I think
yeah,
we
one
should
of them,
always look
them
to,
notice everything.
yeah, we should always, men and women, look to protect
Mm-hmm.
the other party, right? Like,
Absolutely.
do me a favor, protect the other party, right? We already talked about in one of the other episodes, some of y'all be wearing outside, like, protect the other party. Some of y'all have caused accidents. You know what
Listen,
I'm saying?
now, where you place your eyes and how long you leave them there is not our fault. We got nothing to do with that.
That ain't gonna
Whatever we
be.
whatever we working with is what we working with now.
Oh man.
Tim said quit gawking.
I look, my
So what
windows are so tinted.
So whatever we working with is what we working with. But at the
Yes.
end of the day, it's how we present what we're working with,
Yes.
and which is
100%.
why I'm so excited to um, have a fashion and image coach, which is a part of, my team for pen to paper as I travel with this impact and this opportunity, because how we show up to do what we do makes a difference. And
100%.
so we can't show up looking like we can't show up looking like the woman in the street, but you want to get that professional approach, and you want to be
It's
you
not
want
gonna
to be
happen.
respected. Yeah, you want to be respected as a professional woman. That's not how this works. And so at the end of the day, what it needs to be understood is that class never goes out of style. Being a
100%.
classy woman, being, a debonair and a classy man, that never goes out of
So
style.
that's the
And
piece
so
right there. That's the piece because every time we talk about attire, people default to women, and I'm like, some dudes, we have a responsibility as well, right? Like,
absolutely,
you
absolutely.
need you need to look like, and not just when you're going to work, every day, right?
Yep.
Like, you are representing yourself and your name. And if we can fast forward, if you're talking about um marrying someone, like, they're taking on your name. Do I want to wear this crest, this seal on me?
Mm-hmm.
What do you look like as a man? Like, I can't, the sagging stuff, like, it's an oxymoron, sagging
Mm-mm.
skinny jeans. It's retarded. You can't sag something that's
It
tight.
is. Listen,
I don't.
it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And absolutely, you're right, Ashanti. Coach Wendy says, dress like you want to be addressed. And it's
100%.
so true. So, you can come in a room, and my whole thing is simple, classy, smelling good, you on point, that's it. I mean, you ain't got to do over the top.
Right.
My thing is, I don't have to do 5-inch heels. I can wear them, but I don't have to do 5-inch heels. I can be classy and I can do something on a different style. But how you show up matters. Everything has its
100%.
place. It may not be necessary that I do, stilettos, but
Mhm.
I may need to come professionally, nice loafers, or it's a low heel, or it's a professional type, of apparel. But at the end of the day, that makes a difference. And then once you show up, your image is appropriate, then your conversation needs to
Oh,
line
it's
up.
100%.
So all of these
100%.
things matter. And especially when we're talking about what we desire, the type of person we desire. And so
Right.
you're designing a professional person, but you showing up like, okay, let's go hoop.
Yeah. That ain't gonna work.
That don't add up. You know what I'm saying?
So,
Now, that's
and
for another day. But in
that
this setting, no.
even with that, right? Like, man, wear clothes that fit. Like, don't buy a
Hmm.
schmedium when you don't fit in a schmedium. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're I should not see the outline of your entire body through your pants. I just
Yep.
think that is absolutely disgusting to me, right? Like,
Or if you squat even partially, it's possibility that something's gonna rip.
yeah,
I don't care how much
don't like
stretch
stop.
is. I don't care how much stretch is there. Come on. We gotta. Yeah.
And so and this goes deep for me because I can't help observing people, right? I see the people that, Lord, here we go. Um, you got on Louis Vuitton shoes and Louis belt and all this stuff, and you just stepped out of a pacer. Like, right then, I know it's not, I'm not supposed to be judging anybody or anything, but I'm like, you're looking like you're not making the best decisions, right? I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
tell the my mentees, the young men that I mentor, I tell them all the time, your shoes walk on dirt. It don't matter if there's a Jumpman logo on there. It don't matter if it's Johnston and Murphy. You walking on
Absolutely.
dirt.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
let's pay attention to the right thing because um, if, like you said, if your conversation,
Hmm.
and this isn't just talking to women, this is just talking, period. If
Period.
your
Yeah.
conversation is empty, it don't matter what you got on, sir
Right.
or ma'am.
That's true.
You lose people, and I think we gotta be mindful. I get on the men because we're supposed to be the leaders. Like, let's set the example, right?
Yeah.
This is how we as men are carrying ourselves now. It'll automatically force a
Hmm.
change, a ripple
Yeah.
through the culture.
Yeah. Lead by example. And so,
Have to.
as we prepare, we're close to wrapping up tonight. But the nuances of dating in this season is it's a whole different. It used to be a time you could so many things were understood because of the culture and the time we were in. Now there's so many different nuances. And so we have to make sure that we understand the perspective from which we're communicating, that we're both communicating on the same page. Women, let's not have misguided expectations where we're bringing in things from previous relationships and we have this expectation of this new person for whom we're getting to know and we don't know. So let's not assume that the same things are there. You want to be guarded and you want to be mindful of the things that you need to be protective of and the things you want to guard your heart of. But at the same time, if you can't give that person a clean slate, then don't even attempt to take the slate on at all. Until you're healed, until you're at a point that you have ridded yourself of that and there's no residue. Because as long as you have a residue of previous relationships, you're going to take that over. It's just like taking a rag that you've used to wipe something else. You're going to smear that
Yeah.
whatever's on that rag, you're going to smear that next surface with that because there's residue on there. And so we have to be mindful of that. And until you're healed of it and there's a clean slate and you can give that person a fair opportunity, just at surface, then I would say don't date because it ain't safe to date at that point because you cannot see through clear eyes. So you want to make sure you're hearing through clear ears. You want to make sure you're seeing through clear eyes, and you want to make sure that your heart is in a posture where you can handle new conversations and you can process and filter those kinds of things. Yeah, finding the balance is key, and so it has to be um it has to be a position where it's safe for you to be in environments and in relationships and in conversations and know that it ain't a relationship until it's defined as one.
There's
If
yeah,
there's no definition, there isn't one.
yeah,
You just going to have dinner or you're just going to hang out.
right,
But until that time, try to maintain a platonic position,
yes,
until something has been established. And if it
right.
never establishes, that's okay. That's
And be
cool. Because
okay.
there's a reason
Even
why it didn't.
yeah, even if you like what you see and you may want more, if there is not almost an invitation, because I know for as a guy, a woman will always give you an invitation like, hey, I can see us going further. And by the way, guys, you better get ready because now they're approaching us like, hey, how you doing? What's your name? And you gotta
Hmm.
be, it's a whole different day and age. And so again, for some people that may be a shocker, but times are changing, the world is changing. You got to be just as ready. Now, how that is done, and how you kind of deal with that, that's up to you. Um, but yeah, it,
But I'm from the
it's
old school and I'm like this. It ain't nothing wrong with saying, hey,
that.
can we go have a cup of tea, cup of
Oh,
coffee? I wouldn't mind getting to know you a little bit better. Hey, what about
if
lunch? I'm
only.
I'm old school. It's good with that. Can we just put that on the table? It's all right to say that.
Yeah,
It's okay. I'm not
but
a mind reader. I don't know that you would like to do that. So I'm not
and
gonna not.
be
I'm not gonna take that from you. I want you to talk.
yes, be okay. I try to tell again my mentees. I tell them be okay if the answer is no.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
absolutely okay.
Hmm.
It doesn't diminish you, who you are, your worth, or any of that. That's okay. You are just not that person's preference. And I will say this. This is a dangerous statement to say right now because I don't know who's watching this. A lot of times, the people that refuse you disrespectfully, give it some time. And it comes right back around where they all in your face like, oh, hey, so how you doing? Oh, I'm great. I'm doing great.
Now you got a little too.
I am excellent. You know, with your feet hanging out your shoes. That's fine.
Uh-uh.
You know, I'm just I play, I play.
No, you ain't. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. But at the end of the day, here again, no's are okay. No's
Yes.
are healthy. There are reasons for which no's you get no's
They're
in
directional.
absolutely, and so it's okay. And in some cases, and I'm like this now. If it's a person I know, it can even be anything potentially anywhere under the sun, under the heavens, in the ocean, or nowhere. Then I'm probably gonna say, I'm probably say, had a pretty busy week, maybe another time. Because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to even give off,
Yeah.
I don't want to go into that environment being who I am, not to say that I'm all in a bag of chips, but I just know who I am and how I communicate. I don't even
Yeah.
want to give off, I don't want to give you nothing
Yeah.
that is going to send you in the wrong direction.
So that's
So yeah,
I'm gonna say this.
what?
So that's the thing. I believe I said it in here. Time is a dangerous thing. If
Hmm.
time is mismanaged, if you keep giving somebody time when you have no intention,
That's
you
good.
are
That's
doing
good.
that person a
A
disservice
disservice.
because
Absolutely.
time has
Be
hooks,
respectful. Yes, be
tenterhooks, and they
respectful.
start
Because
hooking.
when you spend time with people and you know good and well, because and if you know you got a type and that ain't it, don't do that.
Don't do it
That's
to the
my that's
person.
my advice. Do not do it. Don't spend the time. Number one, you can't get a refund on it. You can't go cash that in no way and get that time back.
Yeah,
So
that's
if you
hurtful.
know this is not your type, you don't have to be ugly or anything like that. But if you know it's, don't waste that person's time. If
Yeah,
there is if it's your type or there's a potential, you feel like there's potential there, go have a tea to coffee. You may not have another
mhm,
cup, but at the end of the day, the time wasn't wasted. It was good conversation or
yeah.
whatever the case may be, or you learned something, that helped you to determine whether or not it could go further or not, but definitely be mindful of wasting, a person's time.
Also, I would say this, like, because I've had this happen um on some occasions. Like, no, no, you don't want to pray with me. No, don't. Prayer is a very intimate,
Very intimate.
vulnerable thing. You don't want to pray with me. No, you ain't
Mm-hmm.
even about the prayer. You ain't about the
Mm-hmm.
prayer. What you
Mm-hmm.
want to pray about? Tell me what you want to pray about. You don't know what you want to pray about. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, and I,
What we praying for?
what are we praying for, right? So my brother told me that he was like, careful, don't just be praying with anyone because you can't lie to God.
Mm-hmm.
And you open up your soul, your heart, and they just taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an easy way to get manipulated, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
very protective of who I go
So
before God with.
there are witches out here.
Oh yeah, it's
And
real out here.
there are women witches and there are men witches. So that
Oh yeah,
spirit of manipulation, that's what that
it's
is. So
it's wild.
we have to be very, very careful. You know, I'm good with you praying over the food, blessing the food,
Oh
that
yeah,
it tells me something that's cool, but we can't go into the well, Father God, I'm
yeah.
believing and all of this and then the third. so it's not prayer
Show
meeting
me if
time.
this
So
is my wife. Nah, write it on a post-it note. I'll add it to my prayer list. I'll pray separately. You
right.
know, like
Yeah, we ain't
this.
going that deep. We're not going that deep. And so, but these are just a few of the things. There's so much that's
Oh,
happening out here in these streets
oh,
these days. And this is another thing. If you married, do everything you can in your power to stay married. You
yep.
don't want to be out here in these dating streets. Not in this season and not in this time. So
Ladies, another PSA real quick. Bonnets outside of the house, probably not a good idea. Just throwing that out there. Stop, stop. Bonnets are
oh
meant for
God.
inside the house, not outside. I digress. My public service announcement finished.
There's a certain caliber, and I don't know what that is. The house shoes, the whole nine, makes me cringe. But anyway, um, yeah, I can't. Yeah, the big ones just all in the movies and all. It's- I can't
It's
do it.
crazy.
Listen, thank y'all for hanging out with us again for relationship conversations. It's been another good conversation, practical in nature. However, it's so very true. These are things that we deal with. These are things we need to be mindful of. These are things we need to take note of. And so I hope that, for those of you who are sharing with us live tonight, that it's been a blessing to you. It's been beneficial to you, taking something away from this conversation tonight. Yeah, they need repairs. They got a lot of potholes. Uh, and then for those of you that are watching the replay, thank you so much for chiming in, for stopping by. I hope that something has been said throughout this series, since we started at the top of the year, that you've been able to take it away. If that is the case, will you share this with somebody else? That could just draw from this conversation or these conversations, shared with them, and because it's meant to be a blessing. So these last few weeks have been phenomenal. So definitely share these with somebody. Send it to somebody. Just share it with them and say, hey, take a listen to it, and we appreciate it. Well, we'll be back next week, and
Yes. Is next week the last one?
I think next week, yeah, it's the
Next week
last
is the last one.
Tuesday. It's the last
Look what
Tuesday.
just popped up.
Let's see.
Compatibility. Check it
Ah,
out, people.
yeah,
Compatibility.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's a whole different
Awesome, Tiff. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for your engagement. Thank you for chiming in tonight. Y'all were good. Y'all were good. Y'all were cracking up. We were too.
Oh
But
man.
look, this is a real deal out here, right? It's real. And so we're definitely looking forward to next week. We'll be wrapping this up, and I'm gonna have to give me a panel of guys on here. And then give me a panel of ladies on here so we can
Oh,
we can
that'd be
really have,
great.
yeah, so we can really have us a good conversation. I'm thinking about doing something on the road with pen to paper at the end of a couple of these pen to papers, having a relationship kind of
Ooh.
conversation.
I
Anyway,
just
yeah.
you
All
know
right,
I'm
we getting ready to
oh
go off the air. So I already know Jamal finna go in on me. Listen, thank you all again for joining us for Tuesday Motivation and Conversation. We're back here next week, same time, same place. We look forward to seeing you then. Y'all have a good night. Be